Hi everybody, today we're going to be talking about the errors in the American penal system.
An overview of what the errors we're talking about is mass incarceration, parole, youth detention, and prison commissions.
Our argument is that the American penal system does not operate effectively concerning parole, youth detention, and the overall daily conditions of the prisoners.
Mass incarceration is the extreme rate of imprisonment. This is an issue especially in the US. One of the main causes is the war on drugs. In June 1971, President Richard Nixon declared a war on drugs, claiming that drug abuse was the #1 issue in the United States. This resulted in stricter sentencing policies and more arrests made, so more people in prison. And so in 1980, the prison population was 40,000 about, and in 2015 it raised to 500,000. Some effects. It takes a toll on the economy in America. So federal spendings every year are $182 billion for prisons, and then social effects on ex-convicts and their peers. When they come out of prison, everybody has a skeptical view on them, so they have less of a chance to getting employed or continuing on with their lives. So,
So parole. Parole has widely been dubbed as a solution for mass incarceration. And basically what parole is, it is the early release of a convict on the condition that they be under community supervision. Now, along with any solution, there are some shortcomings. For parole, it is extremely difficult for many prisoners to obtain parole. They may apply 5, 10, 15 times and still be denied. And this is largely a result of the dysfunctional decision-making process of the parole board. The parole board is essentially uneducated, unchecked, and therefore unreliable. It is uneducated in the fact that in most states you are only required to have a bachelor's degree to be on the parole board. So these people are making essentially life and death decisions on that degree. And they are unchecked in that they are not required to release any information regarding whether or not the reason of rejecting a parolee. So they can use any evidence from hearsay, rumor, and even just pure instinct. So this really contributes to the fact that 16% of the United States incarcerated people are ages 50 and older. Now, all these characteristics combined really result in an inefficient institution.
All right. So I'm going to be talking about the Youth Detention Center. So the YDC is a secure prison or jail that holds youth until they are sentenced for a crime or are moved to a different program. The purpose of the YDC is to prevent youth from further committing crimes, and hurt their community. However, the YDC fosters a very hostile environment. So the youth that go in there come out worse than when they came in. A statistic shows that between 50 and 75% of the youth that go through the YDC are incarcerated later in life. So instead of the YDC helping youth turn a corner in their life, they're actually more entangling themselves into the criminal justice system. So something is not working in this system. Also, Youth Detention Center disrupts the education of a lot of these youth. So they're not completely getting the education needed. 43% of the incarcerated youth don't go back to school after they're released. So because they're not able to get a good job, and because they're not able to get a good education, they aren't able to get a good job, which ultimately hurts the economy of their community. So you're having a lot of youth who are inactive in their society, which is hurting the community. So overall, the youth detention is very ineffective.
In a daily basis, prisoners are being exposed to sexual and physical misconduct caused by other prisoners and even the guards. They are also being exposed to sanitation issues that contribute to their physical health by worsening sometimes their physical state, such as getting them infected with some widespread diseases such as hepatitis B, HIV, and AIDS. And they're also exposed to substance abuse within the facilities. So there is a lack of attention given to the facilities, which has only worsened their conditions.
So our proposed solution is to, based on the previous system that we presented, to emulate the Norwegian system. The Norwegian system focuses mainly on rehabilitating the prisoners instead of, in America, they focus more on punishing them. So the total prison population in the United States is 2.2 million, where in Norway it's 4,000 out of their 5 million population. The US also has a larger recidivism rate, which means that the people that are released from the jail, they usually come back within 5 years. The US has a rate of 76.6, whereas in Norway it's 20%. Over here is a picture of a maximum security prison in Norway, and over here is a jail cell of a jail in Huntsville, Texas. So you can really tell by these pictures the amount of effort that's put into rehabilitating the prisoners. Norway usually spends about $91,000 per prisoner annually, and the US spends about $31,000 annually per prisoner. Also, Norway offers a lot of educational classes for their prisoners, like culinary classes. They have recording music studios to help them reintegrate back into society more smoothly. So there are some limitations of our solution, which executing a foreign system would cost more money, but there's no guarantee that the recidivism rate are gonna reduce. And the higher percentage of the national budget put towards the criminals instead of other projects. And there's also a morality limitation here. Is it moral to put US tax dollars towards people who have already had their chance in society? These sorts of proceedings.
Okay. Good job, guys. Thank you. Let me ask you guys. So, Charles, what is an example of a compelling argument from one of your team members reports that you decided to exclude from your team presentation?
That's a good question. So I think for the youth detention, that we had some really statistics that showed us that the youth were really biased in their measuring because of the way that they took that information. It was taken from areas where income was very, very low, so we did not want to use that information as a picture for the entire country as a whole.
Okay. In the future, what would you change to make your group norms? What changes would you make to your group norms, and how would you expect that to improve a team presentation in the future, John?
I feel like we could have done better in just scheduling and having a set time of when to present. In that sense, it was out of the place, but we were still able to pick a time and do it. I think just scheduling and working out the times would have been better and would have overall made a presentation better.
Okay. Amanda, describe an argument from one of your peers' reports that made you think differently about your solution.
Well, Charles had in his paper that parolees usually don't get their parole sentences no matter how many times they apply. And in Norway, they don't really have a parole system, so we were gonna add that into the solution for since day to day.
Okay. Let's see. How did the group decide to include, let's say, Joanne's paper in the overall conclusions?
Could you rephrase the question?
So how did you as a group decide to use or include Joanne's paper for the presentation and conclusions?
Well, we saw that, like, in prisons, the issue is that, like, some of them keep on coming back, and we had to, like, go to find, like, the root of the problem, which is them being put, like, they're being put away from society at an early age, which just kind of, like, messes with their mental health.
Okay. In what way has your thinking changed as a result of hearing Amanda's IR?
Well, the European countries, any other country compared to the U.S. has a lot of ups and downs, and so another perspective on another prison, because I studied the American prison system for all of my IR, so seeing the Norwegian system and how different it is and how they use it to rehabilitate their prisoners instead of just punishing them, it changed my view on America.
Okay. All right. Thank you, guys.